Okay, welcome to episode 1, and welcome to the rooftop vista of my little patio on my apartment in the neighboring house. So I wanted to let you know how the first week of full-time music went. So let's get into it. So this is my first full week, and I had 3 gigs this weekend. I did a Thursday, Friday, Saturday at 3 hours, 3 hours, and 5 hours. I like to think in like 24-hour blocks. How much playing and singing am I going to be doing in 24 hours? And so I did 3 hours the Friday night and 5 hours that ended before the Friday night started. So effectively 8 hours of music in 24 hours, which was a lot. 5 hours is definitely the longest I've done. I usually do 2-3 hour gigs. Sometimes I only do 1 hours. In general, I thought it went really well. I got to play at 2 new venues, and the one in the middle was a thing I'd done before, a street festival, where I had a particularly nice spot amongst other musicians. So I don't know if you folks can hear that playing. So the real challenge was I was pretty vocally tired before I started. Sometimes I can kind of hear this in rehearsal and practice, where I could tell that I was a little more tired than I would like to be before I started playing. And so what I ended up doing was I just tried to kind of be very careful about how I used my voice that day. Drinking tea. I talked to my voice teacher as well, which was really fun. She congratulated me on going full time, and I was able to get to the end of it. And I learned some things, but today's learning was actually more about that first gig than the kind of entirety of it. And it was a useful, learning that I immediately applied to gigs 2 and 3. It's been a pretty warm September. It's finally cooling down now. And I was inside a nice restaurant trying to make a good impression. So dressed up nice, got a collared shirt on. I play standing up. I think it's a good energy. It's a good stage presence for me personally. And between playing, singing, bouncing around, I'm realizing there's not any airflow in this corner of this restaurant, and it's surprisingly hot. And I am unfortunately someone who sweats easily, so I won't go into gory detail about that. But I was pretty miserable at one point, just physically. And it's when you're playing and singing and performing and interacting with the audience, you ideally want to be in a kind of comfortable place. You want to be relaxed for your voice and any other instruments that you're playing, and so you're not tense when you're doing your looping, if you're doing looping, as I do. But more than that, you want to be comfortable enough that it looks fun. It looks easy, and I was not selling that because I was sweltering. I was getting a little too uncomfortable. And luckily, as the evening went on, that got better. Naturally, it's cool as the evening goes from 6 to 8, 9 p.m. I realized that the first rule of performing is you want to make sure you always bring a fan. Now, I'm a small musician. I don't have a big fan base yet, but I did have this. Not sponsored, by the way. Hashtag not sponsored. I realized that what I was missing was just some airflow. And in an outdoor gig, most of my gigs are outdoors, you're going to get a little natural breeze every now and again. But in an indoor environment, you're not necessarily going to get that. And if it's hot where you are, you're just baking in it. So I guess my tip that I immediately employed for the gigs on Friday and Saturday was to bring the little fan with me. And it made all the difference in the world. My second gig, I was comfortable whole night. This thing is quiet enough that it doesn't add any kind of hum that I can tell to the microphone. And I was just much more relaxed and personable and approachable, I think. When someone is clearly struggling, you maybe feel bad for them, but you don't necessarily want to interact with them. I did have a 5-hour gig, which was the longest I've had, but it was the 3-hour gig that really kind of set me up for success into those next couple, because once I had the fan with me, I was able to navigate that. So I guess just to expand on the tip, so I'm not going to try to milk multiple episodes out of it. If you're playing in a place where the environment might be hostile to comfortably playing and singing and performing, think about, I have a heater for the winter, I have that fan for the summer, I have a shade structure for light rain and direct sunlight. So just something to keep in mind. If you're out there in the elements, protect yourself, take care of yourself, and give the best performance you can. And that's my tip for week 1, episode 1. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll give you more of what's going on for me in week 2. Take care.